Welcome to West Tigers TV. We are coming to you live tonight from Siberia. We've been flown there on a one-way ticket after the West Tigers 24-22 loss to the Dragons. We have been joined by Steve and Gary. Coach Adel is going to be coming back in a minute because, as usual, on stream,
he was here.
He's got a couple of issues with his sound, but he'll be back, boys. Steve, I'll start with you, mate. I was getting comfortable the past couple of weeks. There was no football to stress about. I was in off-season mode, and I forgot we still had 4 games left.
Yeah, well, we do, and it's going to be a long 3 weeks, isn't it, coming into the end of the season. But I've already decided, I'm going to bring cricket in straight away. I'm going to try to find Marnus Labuschagne, and I'm going to take him to Allianz next year and show him what 100 looks like, because we'll get 100 put on us next week.
Well, Coach, welcome back from your Brisbane bunker. You told me last week we should do a podcast on cricket, and the Bangladeshis caused a huge upset in Darwin, beating the Aussies. Pumped them.
Yeah, it was the ultimate underdog story, but I thought they bowled. Are we talking cricket? Are we actually talking cricket? I'm now pumped up. Are we doing this?
Yeah.
No, I actually watched today's play just before the Tigers game, and I thought they bowled really well. They're a very disciplined team, and they show a lot of energy in the field, unlike some subcontinent nations. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, but some of the drop catches from Australia yesterday were terrible. So, yeah, well-deserved victory to the Bangladeshis. Well done.
Yeah, I think our boys caught on the hop a bit, probably up there for a little bit of golf and maybe watch a bit of racing up in Darwin, and all of a sudden, Bangladesh, like you said, patient and disciplined. But we're not here to talk cricket. We are here to talk West Tigers. Gary, you were out there today. What did you make of it? What's your main emotion?
It would be great if the game was only that last 10 minutes, because we only really decided to play for 10 minutes of that game today. So if you could bottle a game down to 10 minutes and it just 10 minutes long, we would have went well today. The other 70 was pretty woeful.
Steve, I've got no idea if you were out there, but where did you spend your afternoon?
Yeah, I was there. And look, to be perfectly honest, my excitement today was to go and watch the NRLW play, and the girls played a great game and a really, holding the Tigers badge up high with the way they performed today. They had a great win. So I was out there and watched the NRL game as well, which was just more of the same, mate. More of the same. It was very, very disappointing. You know what? I reckon it can be encapsulated in one moment. Are we getting serious yet or not? It can be, that game can be caught in one moment. That was that try St George scored where they ran down the left and kicked in field, right? And Heath Mason had been on field for maybe 5-10 minutes. Was back on the 40-metre line with his hands on his hips when 3 or 4 St George players charged at that ball that was kicked in field and scored untouched. And that summed the whole game up.
Well, I'm going to write that down as your like a Tiger moment, Steve, but I'll go to the boys in a minute for their moment. But, Coach, on a positive note, Steve mentioned the NRLW. I think they're 4-2 now. Surely they're finals bound.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, it's going to cause – the only way they could fail to make the finals if something happened to their halves. But I can't see that happening. I think both of them are in really good form. Look, I can't praise them enough for the year they've had, and they've also had some injuries, obviously not some super key injuries. Keeping Racine on the field has been massive for them this year. Her signing has been an enormous one, but yeah, they're just the football side that plays the game tough. They don't take bullshit off anybody. Even though they lost those 2 games against the 2 big powerhouses in the competition, I thought they did it with some good toughness, and nothing went their way for those 2 weeks in a row. So they've got that out of the way, and they're able to steam home for the rest of the year. So, I like Steve said today, he went out to watch the game. I just enjoyed the fact that they played before us today, so I get to enjoy them before I got to watch the NRL play. But yeah, mate, they're holding the club in a high position at the moment, and I think, what is it, 4 rounds to go, I think. I can see them winning at least 2 or 3 of those games. So, I definitely think they'll make the finals for sure.
Well done to the girls. 30-22 over the Warriors. Go on, Gary.
Yeah, the big thing for me from the girls today is I thought last week they played quite poorly. Managed to get away with a win, needed to get away with a win, and sometimes you need to play poorly and win. I thought today they played outstanding football. Really good to see. Racine McGregor, as Adele just said, has been an outstanding buy for the club. What she's brought across since she came across I think is the difference between where we've been the last couple of years. We haven't had a halfback who can take control of a game the way she does. And her fingerprints are all over that team. She is a halfback that is a genuine first receiver halfback. She likes to get her hands on the ball earlier. And having Lasana play off the back of that, I think, is really bringing her confidence back. I think we've seen over the last couple of years, Lasana's confidence really fell away, especially towards the back end of last season. I want to see Lasana start to engage the line a little bit more, but I think that will come as her confidence grows. It's great to see her really starting to get that confidence back. And that little bit of swagger that Lasana had as she came into grade, starting to come back into her game. I'm really looking to see how that combination builds over the next couple of weeks.
Steve, you mentioned a couple of weeks ago your main emotion was apathy after we lost to Parramatta. It's now 8 losses in a row. Are you still feeling the same way?
Yeah, look, I suppose it's just to protect myself, really. Like, what's the point of I didn't jump out of my seat when we scored. I didn't jump out of my seat when we got scored against. I just thought there's no point. The season is gone. And you know, like, I obviously still cared very deeply about West Tigers and footy and all that, and always will. But I just can't see the point in trying to get excited about this club at the moment. Like, we are just in a horrendous position. Like, we played a team this team's won 4 games all year. 50% of that's against us. Like, we're just absolutely shit in every department. And, you know, like, I'm starting to get worked up talking. Why bother? Why bother getting worked up? Because it's just not worth it. Like, they've just got to get their shit together. And I don't know what the answer is, because we've been saying that for 15 years.
Steve, the problem is wins at this point of the season for a side like that we have at the moment, it is important. You need to build some sort of confidence going into this offseason. You need to build some kind of momentum, some sort of positivity around this club at the moment, because, like, you have a look across the fan base, you have a look at the crowd there today. It was sub 10,000 there today, and you've got to build something going into the off season for this club to be an attractive option, because we need to bring some players into this. I don't know what our salary cap's like. Everything I hear is it's not in a great place, but we need to attract at least 2 quality first graders into this team to be any chance going into next season. And you don't do that by finishing this season by losing to St. George and then getting pumped every week after that. So
mate, I'm not disagreeing with you. Not disagreeing with you at all, mate. I agree 100%. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying within myself, I'm finding it very hard to get any enthusiasm about anything that they're doing. I agree with you.
Coach, I think you were a little bit under the weather today, a bit crook. I can't imagine that game has made you feel much better, but your overall take and emotion coming out of that 24-22 loss?
Everything we've known for the last couple of weeks is continuing. Nothing's really changed. Look, obviously I have different opinions, a lot of people, about individuals and the way we play and all that sort of stuff. And that's fine that everybody has different opinions on that sort of thing. But there's only one way to fix what we've done in the last 4 or 5, or how long has it been now, 7, 8 weeks, is by somehow turning it around in the next couple of weeks when we play some of the powerhouses of the competition. Now, I don't see that happening, but that's the only way to fix it, is to put in some respectable performances as we play the Roosters away, the Cowboys away, and the Panthers away. Now, the other way that turns is we get absolutely smashed in the next 3 weeks, which is probably what everybody's expecting. So it's going to be really important that over the next couple of weeks, the players, if they want to have that little bit of respect about them, and they have that bit of respect in themselves, well, they've got to perform. They've got to do something. They've got to turn up with the right attitude and somehow find a way over the next couple of weeks to not so much win football games, but turn up and be resilient and be tough and make things tough for the opposition over the next couple of weeks. But obviously, as in the position we're currently in at the moment, we're pretty fragile, and I think that's going to be hard for us to expect that.
We'll get into some of the individual performances today and Benji's press conference and a little bit of big picture stuff later on. But Gary, have you got a Tiger moment for me?
Not really, but I'll give the young guy who I thought made a few errors defensively the fact that Sakura scored 2 tries. I'll give him a bit of credit there. He can have my Tiger moment for scoring 2 tries on Davoo.
Steve, you're going to double dip and have another one, or you've got yours out of the way?
No, yeah, I was on a positive. I watched Appy pretty closely today, and I'm not saying anything no one doesn't already know about him. But fair dinkum, he's worth two players, that guy out in the field. His effort today was just extraordinary. He never stopped. And like 1 minute he's doing a legs tackle, like third man in doing a legs tackle to stop momentum. The next minute he's stopping a bloke on the line, with a front on tackle in the same set. He's just extraordinary. And if every one of those players could watch him and put in the same amount of effort that he puts in, we'd be a different side. He's incredible.
Coach, you look like you're trying to keep a straight face. I can only imagine.
He needs to stop reading the comments. Stop reading the comments.
No, it's not the comments.
My computer during the podcast. I don't read the live comments, but you're in tears. I don't know if it's tears of laughter or tears in general.
No, it's not the comments. You know what? You asked for the like a tiger moment, and I'm going to say what Rob said in our chat.
That's dangerous.
And Rob said, "Oh, geez, I'm in tears with laughter." Geez, I can't even get it out. Sorry.
Well,
I'll come back to you.
He has gone with Rob Bashar as his name. So
you know what? On the subject of Rob, while we're talking about Rob, I was lucky enough, Adele, to get invited to the Red Room on Thursday night. And the Red Room's impressive, but I've got to say, it's about the 8th most impressive room in that house. That house is like going to the Matrix. It's unbelievable.
It is, but not as impressive as when Paul Solomon Security scored his try today. And Rob Bashar says it's nice of him to score a try in his final NRL game.
He did too.
He likes a debutante, Rob, doesn't he? He loves a debutante. Cursed the bar and how he's done that.
Just like I'm in tears now. I was in tears then.
Poor old Sakura, Gary. It seems like, I got a lot of reports from you guys who, I got to admit, you follow it a lot closer than me, the State Cup stuff, saying, he might be a bit of a turnstile and he looks like a bit of a cocky kid from some of the videos I've seen in the past. But like he held his gloves up. He was a threat in attack. And I thought he was actually fairly, professional a couple of times. When he scored and we were behind. He wasn't layering it up. He got back to halfway. I know he missed that shocking tackle in the first half.
He missed a couple of really bad ones today.
What did you make of his overall game? A mixed bag?
Yeah, it was a mixed bag. The tries you'd expect most centres to score. He did bump off a couple of players nicely a couple of times, but some of those defensive efforts were really poor. Really, really poor. And when you look at those defensive efforts that he showed today, there's a reason why he's taken so long to make that debut. There's a reason why Benji waited so long to give him that opportunity, and that was shown today.
Coach, an overall take in the game, we completed fairly high again, 80%, 86% completions, and we dominated, I think, the run meters. We had over 200 more. We had more offloads. We had more possession. But again, like the first 20 minutes, we looked like we come out with plenty of enthusiasm, but we had all the ball. But as soon as we get punched in the face, those 3 tries before halftime, pretty soft.
Yeah, there's no stat for dumb shit, that's for sure. Because, today was the game where the two teams probably, have shown some of the dumbest football over the last, 3 or 4 months. Even though the Dragons, have looked like they're positive, they still do a lot of dumb shit just like us. And that's the sort of stuff that, at times today you look and you just question some of the decision making, some of the passing, the lack of skill. But yeah, in a game like that today, it was never going to be about numbers and about stats. We completed so well in the first half, but we're behind. That wasn't what today was going to be about. I can see what Benji's trying to do. He's still trying to play the long game, which I get and I understand. And I reflect back to the back end of last year and how we finished the year. And, we were a bit more flamboyant and we played a lot more football and we scored a bit more points, but we conceded pretty easily. So, but yeah, it's just some of the ways we conceded today, it was just poor. And it's been poor for a long time defensively for us this year. Even in those periods where I thought we were winning football games at the start of the year, I think our defensive system lacked a bit. But, yeah, I don't want to hammer the players and the coaches too much.
Take much, Steve, out of that second half comeback because, a team that was going for 8 losses in a row, they could have turned their toes up. I know it's scant consolation because you are playing up against a team that was coming last and we were actually slight favourites going in today. But were there any positives in that 80 minutes from a team perspective?
Oh, I thought we tried to play a little more expansively today. I think we'd fallen into a trap of like 5 up and kick, over the last month. We definitely tried to throw the ball around a little bit, and that worked. We scored some points. It was nice to see Taruva, score down the right flank, and so there was some good stuff there. But unfortunately, the good was outweighed by the negative again. Like I watched the game on Thursday night, Roosters versus Penrith, and I was just amazed at the goal line defence of both teams. Right, like some of the best attacking the goal line of the opposition, and they just repelled and repelled and repelled. I think St George were down there for 4 tackles when they scored. Our inability to hold a team out on our line, it's just abysmal. So it is hard to be positive, but we did play a little bit more expansively, and we completed well, but we didn't complete with enough purpose, I suppose.
Gary, we'll get into Benji's press comments later, but he mentioned all the usual sort of cliches that there's still plenty of effort there and we're down on confidence. And from your perspective, were there any positives from a team point of view, either in attack or defence?
As I said earlier, I did like our last 10 minutes when we actually started to attack the game. When we started to win the middle of the field, we started to win the ruck. Something I hadn't really seen us do a lot of was we're actually spreading the ball both sides of the field from left to right. I thought that was a positive in the last 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. But we started to play that style of football too late. We started to run the ball a little bit harder, a little bit too late. We started to win the first contact a little bit too late in that game. We had have been winning that contact a bit earlier in the game, and it may have been fatigue from St. George on St. George's part. But if we had have been winning that contact and being able to spread that ball and create that momentum through the middle earlier, then maybe it would have been a different story. But we only played for that final 15 minutes in that game today, and you need to be a lot better than that for a lot longer than we were today.
It's interesting, Coach, because I think Benji said it in that press conference that like the start probably was quite conservative, but I feel like he's in a tough situation because you've got players with low confidence. And I feel like when you're 12 points down, it's easy to throw the ball around and look good because if you make a mistake, you're already 12 points down. But is that more that game plan at the moment, a player's mindset, or do you think it is a little bit too conservative and restricting us when we get all that ball to start games and we can't convert on the scoreboard?
Like I said, I think Benji's trying to build something about what our system looks like. And I've always said it, he's trying to replicate how the Panthers try to play, which I don't think suits us. And I was taught something a long time ago by a very senior coach is your team's got to be, and I've said this before on the pod, your team needs to be a reflection of you. And I don't understand why we're trying to play the system we're trying to play. I mean, you look at a team like, I don't know, the Dolphins, right? The Dolphins have taken 4 years to get in the position they're in. But the Dolphins haven't tried to build by being a high completion team. They're a high firepower team who tries to move the ball, attack with confidence, but what they're capable of doing is get beat by 40 or 50, like against Manly at the start of the year at home, or getting beat by Cronulla by 60. But what they can also do is they can beat some of the big sides because of how good their firepower is in attack. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why we're trying to play the system we're trying to play, especially with the players we've got. I don't think it suits us, but I'm not the coach. I mean, that's up to him to do what he's doing. This late in the year, coming up against the Dragons, whether we're down on confidence or not, I think that's the one where you almost want to come out and say, well, we might be down on confidence, but we're playing a team lower than us on the table. We've got to play with a bit more arrogance about us, and we didn't do that today. I mean, I understand we did complete well in the first half, but that's all good and well. But if you concede 18 points and a soft 18 points, well, you're not going to win the game.
And just one more technical one, Coach, just on the defensive side of the ball. They obviously had a fair bit of joy going to our edges. I think they targeted our right-hand edge a lot in that first half, gaps between Adam Dewey and Patrick Herbert. And then in the second half, I think between Jerome and Sakura. From what you see, is that a coaching deficiency perhaps, or is that just individual accountability or guys that haven't been playing together long enough? What is it?
Well, the Sully try, that's just a poor miss from Jerome and Sakura, right? That's not systems. That's individually. Jerome stuck the tackle. Sakura's effort was horrendous. They've got to make that tackle. That's not an edge D situation. That's an average 1-on-1 miss. The right edge is so inconsistent with how they defend. They sometimes start tight, they sometimes start wide. There's no squareness in how they get up off the line. Their system changes from sort of set to set, which is, I think, the problem has always been. You know, I've always said that if you're on the field, you've got to play, but Adam looks like his shoulder's really starting to hurt him. You can tell today when he was running the football, it sort of felt like he was leaning towards his shoulder a little bit. Excuse me, but I'm not going to give him that excuse. I just think, I know Rob jokes about the fact that at least Patrick Herbert tries to kill people when he tackles. Patrick Herbert doesn't know how to defend. He's got no understanding of defensive systems in regards to defending as a centre, especially when you're on the right-hand side. It's very well known that your right winger, your right centre, and your right half need to be your best defensive edges. And the reason for that is because something like 70% of teams attack right to left. So they attack your right edge defence. And our right edge all year has been really, really poor. The try, for example, they score on, I think it's Hamish Stewart scores, or it might have been the Sloan try, the first try. Like Adam takes a shortcut. He defends a little bit inside to go out. And then our outside doesn't even make any decisions till really, really late. Like, that's a disconnected system. Sometimes in defensive systems, you can make the right decisions and the other team is good enough and you tip your hat to them and say, well, that's good attack. With us, we're just letting them score. We're letting them go through a training run of their backline move, which that's what it looked like, that Sloan try, and we're just letting them score. And it's tough for that right edge, but I just don't know if they're first graders at the moment or they're not. I know Patrick Herbert's not, that's for sure.
Sort of tough, Steve, because I feel like they come out with all that enthusiasm and they do a lot of hard work. And even at 6-all, I think they defended a couple of sets on their line. But then that really soft last tackle try, it might have been good identification from the young King Tongi to pass to Hamish Stewart. But on last tackle, you just don't really see those tries at NRL level.
No, you don't. And I'll say that like watching the game today, they're out there having a dig. Like it wasn't like they weren't going out with any effort. They were putting effort in, and there was, they wanted to show pride in their performance and put on a decent performance. But from what Coach saying there about defensive systems, what I saw today was just too many one-on-one mistakes, but mistakes in either missing the tackle, like the contact, or mistakes in reading where they should be in defence, right? And that's what seems to be getting. It's been happening all year, right? Where someone will jump out of the line, they make an error, and then that puts that whole outside 3 or 4 defenders out because one person's made that error. Herbert did it a number of times today, racing in trying to do the big hit. And we saw Luai miss, we saw Dewey miss, we saw Sakura miss, just one-on-one mistakes that then screw up the whole system. Is that a fair comment, Adel?
Yeah, 100%. And that to me comes down to, and it's the same thing. And I know we can't compare because they won a comp last year. It reminds me of the Broncos last night. It's the same thing. Like, obviously they're putting in effort, but then you see individual performances and their squad's better than ours. Well, you sit there and you go, well, why? Why is that happening? How's that happening? It's the same thing with us. Like, you sit there in that moment, and everybody knows my feelings on Jerome. Like, Jerome, to me, is one of the better defenders in our side, especially systematically. For him to miss that tackle on Sully, it tells you everything you need to know about us at the moment, that we're just so we can switch off for those little moments in the game, and that moment that we're switching off for, or we're not doing our task, we're getting punished for it. And I think that's the stuff we're really struggling with at the moment, is understanding that, if in this competition against any team, if you don't turn up with 100% commitment to every part of your job, you can have your pants pulled down. And we had our pants pulled down with that today, and we've had it pulled down for the last few weeks.
Gary, what did you make of the halves performance today? Obviously not a win. 22 points could be enough to win a fair amount of games. I thought Jerome was busy. Adam did a lot of the kicking, but they're individual games.
Look, questions have to be asked around our halves when you have a look at the last 2 months of football. I still firmly of the belief Adam Dewey is not a halfback. Firmly of the belief he takes the wrong option far too many times. And there was a number of times today where he ran where I think he had players who were in a better position than him outside him, and he decided to run the ball. That happens far too much in Adam's game for my liking. I thought on Luai, I thought he tried and worked really hard today. I thought he was very busy out there. He was the player who was doing the most talking out on the field. He was making the most effort to get the back line organised and running plays. But I don't think he was great today. Defensively, missing that tackle is a huge cross next to his name for me. He can't be missing that tackle. He missed a couple others as well. But I'm a Jerome Luai fan. I'm really disappointed he's not going to be at the club next season. I think the position we're in right now, because he won't be here next year, I think we actually need to go and find another half. I don't think we have the quality in the halves heading into next season that we need to be fielding what is a reasonable NRL squad. So I'd be looking for a half next year. But if you have a look at the last 2 months of what we've dished up, I think question marks have to be raised around all the halves.
Where do you go, Coach, with your starting halves next week? I believe Latu's suspension finally ends. Javon Andrews, it felt like the 1990s today, if the reports on the TV, which he played up at Lidcombe Oval and then got the call up to bench in first grade because Alex Twile was out crook or late. But, yeah, your starting halves next weekend?
Oh, if Adam and Jerome are fit, you go with both of them. I mean,
is that because you feel like we're going to get pumped by the Roosters and it'd be just the wrong time to put Latu in or a young fella like Javon?
No, because at the end of the day, they're our starting halves. Like they've been our starting halves all year. I mean, it's no time to shovel them aside.
So we just keep doing what we're doing and just keep losing. Don't change anything.
Well, because at this stage of the season, you can't prove that anybody that comes in is going to do a better job at this stage, right? Now, the only thing I'll say to that is, if Benji was going to go with the plan of playing Adam at 13, like he was that few weeks ago when he thought Latu might have been able to play, well, then you potentially, have a crack at it for the last 3 weeks of the year. But the honest truth is I don't know. Like, I don't think it matters. I actually don't think it matters who's playing where for us at the moment. I don't think position is an issue. I don't think who's on the park is the issue. I think it's execution. I think it's confidence. And I think it's a little bit of turn up and do your job and do it at the best of your ability. Like Steve said, I didn't see the part about Heath Mason. Flip the script. Now, I don't know if anybody noticed this, but when Samuela makes that break in the last couple of minutes, it's Loco Pacifica Tonga, who made the tackle on the previous play 50 metres away, who actually makes the try saver on Samuela. Now, that's a big front row forward in the last 10 minutes of it, or in the last couple of minutes of a game, and I stand to be corrected, as Steve probably would be as well, but he was obviously at the game and seen it. If Heath Mason, who had just been on the field, can't chase back a young outside back, I guess you can call him, in a moment like that, but their front rower can do that. Well, that shows you it's about intent, it's about doing your job, and our blokes aren't doing their job. So I don't think it matters who's playing at the moment, to be honest.
Look, next week, this is all conditional on how bad Adam's shoulder really is. I don't know where he is with his shoulder. I would be looking at playing him at lock next week and playing Latu at halfback. But all that comes down to the conversation with the physical staff and the medical staff of where AD is with his shoulder. I would like to see how he goes in that role. I think if you're going to play the style of football that Benji wants to play, then I think you need a guy in that 13 role who can ball play. I think Adam's the best choice out of the guys that we currently have in the squad to do that. And if he is an option in that role next year, I would like to see him in that role before next year, before the off-season comes, to allow us, if he's not going to work in that role, to actually look somewhere else for that role. So I would like to see him get some time in that role, dependent on how his shoulder kind of is at this point of the season.
They're all fit, Steve, in the halves. Who are you starting next week?
I tend to. Well, I'd be starting Jerome at 6, obviously, but I tend to agree with Gary. I'd be giving Latu a go at 7 next week. The guy, I just feel the guy, if he's the future, and we've been told over and over again that he is, then he's got to be given the opportunity. I am hesitant because we're playing the Roosters, and we're playing the Roosters in some red hot form, and I'm really scared as to what could happen next week. But I think Latu's got to be given that number 7 and said, righto, mate, this is yours if you're good enough to hang on to it. So that's what I'd be doing. And again, what does that mean for Dewey? It means moving him to 13. I'm not as convinced that, for me, it's 13 or centre. I could be happy either way. Where they want to see him going, I think he'd prefer to go to 13 if he's got to be moved. So that's what I would do. But for next year at 6, I don't know. Don't know yet.
Coach Jareem, I thought he had his best game for a couple of months today. I don't know whether it was because the Dragons a little bit more submissive in defence, but he looked dangerous. He ran for over 250 metres. I thought he had a great game.
Well, not according to our comments. So just FYI. Honestly, he was unbelievable today. He was absolutely everywhere. You can tell he's got one shoulder. Same as Adam. I'm going to give him the same thing with Adam. And it's a reason why you can tell he's not passing left to right. Because I remember him trying to do it the other week and it was a horrible pass. He was disadvantaged today by the times that he actually got on the outside of the 3-man, poked his nose through, and our centres both, secure in his first game, and Patrick Herbert, who never pushed up on the outside. Now, I also read in the comments someone saying when Samuela made a break, why wasn't Jareem there? Because they actually went out the back. The reason why Samuela got through was because the Dragons went out the back because they seen all the attack was coming at Jareem. He was out the back trying to get the ball out the back. And then he got entangled with the Dragons player. So, unfortunately, I know he's quick, but he's not that quick to be able to get there with Samuela. I just, you and I have discussed this all year on the pods about shutting them down and getting surgery. In that bye, he should have been sent for surgery. I mean, I understand why he hasn't been sent for surgery himself. Adam, who was the third guy? There's another person that's injured, isn't there?
Herbert.
Shoulder earlier this year.
Herbert can keep playing. I'm not sure who the other person was. I'm not sure. Seriously.
Yeah. But Gary, do you feel like it's just been, and I put myself in Benji's shoes a little bit. I can understand why he keeps playing these guys, but I think that was the final roll of the dice today. That realistically, and he can't say this to the players, that was the last winnable game today. And not just for Benji, but for everyone, getting a win before the end of the season is very important. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen because they've gone down in 2 real close ones to Parramatta and St. George. But I think now it's a no-brainer. It's obvious the way Adam was running that he is hampered. And Jareem, it's been obvious for a couple of months. I think you put them both away. And I don't know what happened to Tito today, but that looked like it could be a serious injury as well.
Yeah, he did something to his knee. I'm not sure exactly what it is. He did. I did hear he's been sent for scans tomorrow on whatever it is. So I'm not completely sure what he did to his knee. Yeah, look, I'd be happy for them both to go and get surgery. I don't know what the club decides. It leaves us very short, and it leaves us probably looking at Heath Mason playing in that fullback role, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. I said a couple of weeks ago, I don't see us getting another win, and that was before we played today. So I still don't expect another win this season.
Do you know what, Gary? Someone said something to me the other day, and I didn't think about it. I didn't think to mention it till now. I wonder if the players have decided, because I said this the other week, both Jareem and Adam will be playing at the World Cup. I wonder if they've decided, well, we don't want to have surgery. We'll keep playing so we can play at the World Cup and get our surgery done after the World Cup. Because it doesn't make sense that our club would say, keep playing. So that's going to be an interesting one. I'd like to know what the actual facts are around that. I seen our mate Paul Ken having a crack at Benji about it the other day, but you can't tell the players to have surgery if they don't want to have surgery. It's up to them.
Didn't someone from the club come out in the last week and say that Jareem's he's not playing World Cup and he's going straight for surgery after the season?
I've been told that Jareem will have surgery and not go to the World Cup. That hasn't been confirmed publicly by the club. But the information that I've heard is that, yeah, he will have surgery and not go to the World Cup.
Yeah. Good.
Steve, what do you make of Junior Tupou? I mean, his stats are not too bad, but I just keep wondering, why we brought him back. I've got nothing personal against him, Coach. I know I made a couple of wild comments during the game potentially about him, but I just don't see it, man. He gets hammered every time he runs the ball. He went up, like he did a vertical jump. He nearly jumped to the moon. It's the best jump I've ever seen. Unfortunately, he dropped it on the way down. But I saw something there that I got excited about, but I don't know about him overall.
Yeah, look, I haven't seen any stats in the game, and I haven't had a chance, obviously, to look at any replays. So I've only got what I saw live to go off. And I actually was pretty impressed with him today. I thought he had some.
I thought he was all right.
Yeah, I thought he had some really strong carries, and I thought he made a couple of tackles that needed to be made at crucial times. I actually made the comment during the game that he's come back to us seemingly a much better player. But I also like Tavana as well. He only got not like 15 or so, but the way we're attacking at the moment with so little potency, a bloke like Tino Tavana is always a chance under the high ball and gives you another point of attack. And at the moment, we haven't got much. So I actually like him as well. But I think Tupou's okay.
Like I said, Coach, it's good to have Tupou back. Well, I mean, what have you made of his performances?
I can't stop laughing because you guys were at the game and I was reading the comments in the chat. They just keep coming into my head of Eddie and Rob. Look, my personal opinion is I think he's better than, like I've said it all year, like Tito to me is our best winger, but what Tito doesn't bring is that aerial threat and defensively from an aerial perspective, right? The problem I have is I seen what you've seen as well today, Eddie, in regards to that leap. We're brain dead. Why wouldn't we kick to him? Even if he doesn't catch two of them, he catches one and scores. Yeah, that's an athletic skill that not many people have. Now, I've been very critical of the Roosters' attack this year. After the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's actually picked up a little bit, but it's more their defense. But the Roosters sit there sometimes and just grind away for 5 tackles and kick to their 2 wingers. Like if we're going to put, and which I think we'll have next week, if we're going to have Tavana on one side and Tupou on the other next week, mate, I'll just play inside balls for the whole set and just kick to those 2 wingers on tackle 5, give them a chance. Because you know what, if we can do it 10 times a game, we'll probably score 3 tries because they're both that very good in the air. So I just don't think we use his strength. I thought he carried well out of yardage. Like he's not fast. I understand that. He's not super quick, but there's a lot of Greg Marju is not very quick as a winger. Like there's a lot of wingers in this competition that are not very quick. So, we just got to figure out what his strengths are and use them to our advantage. And does he make our squad deeper from an outside back perspective? Yes, he does. So I'm happy to have him.
I'll tell you what we are missing from our wingers, and it's Taruva. Early in the season, Taruva would take an early hit up in the set and then would take the 5th tackle a lot of the time in the set and have a quick play of the ball to get the kick away. And I haven't seen him do that for now. I know he's had to play a lot of centre, right? But I haven't seen him do it for a long time. I don't know whether he's playing with an injury or he got one today or been playing busted, but he certainly hasn't been as active in the sets as he was earlier in the season.
He was doing that 5th tackle hit up when he was playing fullback. Quite often they'll try and get the fullback to do that 5th tackle hit up because then he doesn't actually chase. He just stays back and is in position already. So he was doing that 5th tackle hit up when he was playing fullback a couple of games early in the season. But he was earlier in the season doing 2 or 3. He'd do the third hit up as well. And he hasn't been doing that either. In regards to Tupou, what I've found since he came back, what he has eliminated from his game is that horrible, and now I say it, he'll do it next week, is the horrible drop ball that he had in his game where he'd do a decent... Yeah,
he had a poor grip.
And that's gone from the game so far since he's been back, but you watch him do it next week now, I've mentioned it. So I'll take the blame for that when he does it next week, boys.
It's a nice comment just on the screen now. I think it was a super chat from Michael Watson. He said, "Thanks for the show, guys. Appreciate all the effort." I mean, this is Steve.
It's Michelle, by the way, Eddie.
I mean,
Michelle.
Yeah, it probably is, but it's Michelle, is it? I mean, sorry, that's
Michelle.
Is that your sister, Michelle Watson?
You know what? I actually had a cricketer I played with called Michael Watson, so that's why I went to Michael. So I'm really sorry, Michelle, that I've mistaken you for a Michael. But like this show is sending us all a little bit crazy, so I don't think you can blame us by round 24 or 25.
No, it's not, mate. It's very hard to get. It's very hard to get to the end of the season at the moment. I think we're feeling it almost as much as the players are at this time of year. The girls will keep doing it proud though. Girls are keeping us going.
Yeah, I don't even remember what my question was now, but the forwards, Gary, were they impressive? Anyone stand out for the forwards? Because, I mean, Pole again had strong numbers, over 150 metres. I thought Seyfarth was okay off the bench.
Yeah, I'm actually another one I shouldn't give a rap, because every time I give him a rap, he'll turn around and have a shocker. I thought Seyfarth was quite good today, and it's been quite good the last few weeks. So I'm always very reluctant to give Alex a rap, because as soon as I do, we usually get a poor game from him. But I thought the last probably month of football, I think we've got some really good football out of him and a lot of effort. He looked absolutely gassed out there at times today, but he kept on showing up. So I was quite impressed with Alex today.
Another comment coming in. I don't know. These people are giving us money. I don't know where this money goes to, whether it goes to Bashara House or where it goes. But JMB,
that's why Rob has so many rooms, Eddie.
Wow. Guys, thanks for your insights. Comfort to know it's not just me who suffers as a Tigers supporter. Thank you for your support, JMD.
Is that Justin Pascoe?
I don't think it is Justin Pascoe. But, Steve, your thoughts on the forwards today? Samuela again, are we underusing him, or is he a little bit – because he made that one big line break, but then when I had a look at the stats, he only had, I think, 10 runs for 100 metres.
Yeah, perhaps he's still making his way back from long-term injury, and I think he's been getting stronger each week. And I thought today he looked at times he looked as dangerous as he did before he got injured. Yeah, we need these. I keep saying the same thing, right? We need these multiple points of attack. I was really interested in something Adel said in the pod that I was on with him a couple of weeks ago, when he said we just run the same shape, we run the same moves over and over and over to the same people, and it makes it so easy to read our attack in the defensive line. Well, so we need to get more ball to Samuela, but we need to have options around Samuela as well, so it's not always going to him. Otherwise, he's just going to get crunched every time, right? So, we need to be able to go out the back behind Samuela. We need to be able to cut on the inside, and as well as giving it to him so he can pass before the line, so he can pass at the line. So there's variety, but he's definitely on his way back. And my other mention of the forwards, I would have mentioned Seyfarth. Gary did, and I mentioned Appy before. Appy was just outstanding today.
Gary, I'll go to you on this one, because if I go to coach, he might collapse. But I made a comment about Terrell May during the chat, and I sort of, it's a bit like those light rails. The light rails that go down Anzac Parade. Like they work really hard and they're reliable. But if you wanted to out-sprint them one at a time, I reckon I could out-sprint the light rail. I just feel like his tyres have been busted or something at the moment, because there's just nothing there.
Yeah, look, I actually watched him coming out on the field today, and to me, he looked really disinterested when he actually came out at the start of that game. And I don't know what it is, but something is not right there. I don't know whether it's the big kind of whatever's going on with the playing group, because I still firmly believe there is something going on with the playing group. If you look at his last 2 months of football, his production of what we've been getting from him, and I haven't seen the stats from today's game, so I don't know what we've got out of him, but his production's been way down. A lot of the games up until I thought he really put in for Appy's what was it, 250th game 2 weeks ago. I think he ran for over 200 metres in that. I don't know what he did today. But before that, he was down below 100 metres, which was really unusual for what we've got out of him. You're throwing me, Adele. You're throwing me. I can see you laughing at Eddie. You're throwing.
I'm not even saying anything.
Yeah, it's the flat tyres comment, I think, got him.
I think it was the stuff during the chat, but anyway, we'll move on.
No, I think it was the flat tyres comment got him. But yeah, we have, whatever it is, we haven't got the same player we had earlier in the year. It almost appears at times at the moment that he's almost playing to pad stats at times during the game. And I just don't think we've got the same player that we had earlier in the season.
It's a hard one, Coach, because on a serious note, like guys like Terrell, I used to, I watched his podcast a fair bit with his brother, and I don't know if he's done that the last 2 or 3 months. I feel like maybe he's an overthinker, or he thinks he can't do the podcast now because we're on such a losing streak, or whether, Rob's banged the drum all year that Benji's just completely overworked him and he's just not the same player, but it's just hard because, they're 2 weeks off and I look at the start of the game and I just don't see that same oomph in his runs.
Yeah, look, the overwork thing is rubbish. I mean, some of the stuff we've seen other players are able to do it. It's interesting you say that. Like, he stopped doing the podcast as well. Like, that was weird.
Well, I mean, like
these are the sort of things that you want the players to be in their comfort zone. So I'd like it'd be interesting to find out when they start doing it again. Like, why did they stop? Now, I know there was that period we lost a couple of games and people started abusing him about it. Remember that?
Yeah.
People started abusing him about, stop doing podcasts, doing this. That was in the midway stage of the year. So he might have just went, well, you know what, maybe we should stop doing it. I think there's so much more to players in the modern day. And I know we want to sit there and we want to harp on how it used to be and what it should be and all this sort of stuff. But in the end, winning solves everything. So I just think from my end, we've got to let this team. I almost said what Benji normally says, they got to express themselves. That's his line that he likes to use. I just think we need to let them be who they are, but at the same time, we've got to have a little bit better leadership with what we do on the field and around the direction how we play. Look, I find it hard to criticise the coaching. That's the honest truth, and I struggle with that because I just don't think it's the right thing to do from my angle. But the way we play is just not right. There you go. That's all I'm going to say. The way we defend, our systems are wrong, and the way we attack looks very basic, and it needs to be a little bit more detailed. I think our attention to detail in what we do looks very, very basic, and I think that causes our players to have no confidence and not be able to play their own natural style because there's no foundation to what that needs to look like. Because you can go away from all that if you've got a strong foundation. Ours is very basic. And when you're very basic, and especially these guys that have come from high performance programs, and they turn up to ours and we're almost trying to strip everything back. And I've been around these sort of programs before when people try to do this and say, let's go back to basics. Fuck no, it's not about basics. It's about going to another level. You got to go to another level. You got to go and prepare every week like it's your absolute last week of playing. You're playing for your season every single week. Do you think Penrith are accepting the fact that how they're playing at the moment? They're probably working harder than they ever have. I just think we are just too basic with everything we do, and I think it affects our players.
That one around the podcasting and that sort of stuff, I find really odd. Like, there's no reason why a player shouldn't be doing that sort of stuff. Like, we talk about going back to the old days. Well, players used to have jobs and all sorts of commitments around their training. Like, these are people who are full-time professional sports people. They've got a lot of spare time around what they're actually doing. They need to have some kind of engagement in their life to something else other than just football. Like, so I don't really see why that should be a problem to anyone, what they're doing outside of football. So
it's more like, I just feel like, and I'm not in Terrell's head, but like Benji made an interesting comment a week or two ago. He saw it when we're going through all the drama. And he said, like, we're all humans and we all have feelings. And Terrell did very similar over the off-season with his podcast. He disappeared for about 3 months. So I feel like coaching these days is as much about working with the players and how they're feeling mentally. And maybe he's just a little bit down at the moment. And that's reflecting on the field, Steve. I know I'm trying to be a psychologist here, which I'm certainly not. But I just feel like you look at a guy on the field like that, and maybe not everything's, going rock. Obviously with losing, you're not going to be happy, but I'd rather them see them be their personality off the field as well.
I don't think any of us, maybe Adel, because he's in a coaching system. Oh, you are too, Eddie. So you're doing it. I don't think we understand that elite level, what the pressure these guys are under, and how different pressures from within, pressures outside, affect them. But what I would say, and I've been saying this for so long. Right? Anyone who's known me for any period of time is I talk about this all the time. And it's Adele's just said it, and it's this attention to detail mantra. And it's not just at the playing level. It's not just the guys that run out into the paddock to train 5-6 days a week before they play. It's the whole club. The whole club needs to have, the standard you walk past, right, is the standard you accept, right? It's a well-known saying. And I just think at our club, we accept mediocrity and we don't have attention to detail across the whole gamut of the organisation, and that then becomes reflective. We see it on the football field, but you can see it in the admin. You can see it everywhere. And you know what? We started to lose that apathy around mediocrity. We started to lose it with Richo, because Richo didn't accept anything but the best, right? And Richo made so much change so quickly. Yeah, and he was a bull, right? He just came in and said, "This is what we're doing. If you don't like it, piss off," right? And that's his old school. But he was getting results. Look at the massive change for the good that we saw around the club, you know, and around the roster, and then on field when he was in charge. And this, I'm not having a go at Sean. I like Sean a lot. I think he's a great bloke. But I just think we had that with Richo, and thanks to Holman Barnes, we let it go. And what I am seeing is that drop in standards, that acceptance of mediocrity, lack of attention to detail, it's just coming back, and we are exactly where we were before Richo made that change. And until we address that at a whole organisation level, we're not going to be any better.
You know, I want to say something about, and I wonder, Eddie, because obviously you're coaching at the moment in cricket, and it's a little bit different to rugby league from a culture perspective, right? I'll tell you the thing that I struggle with, because I'm 40, whether you guys, I know a lot of our viewers wouldn't believe this, probably think I'm in my early 30s. I'm 42 years old, right? I struggle with the blokes in their 20s these days, and I don't get it. And we've got a couple of older guys in our squad. I don't understand how. No, I don't. That's not the way to put it. The thing I don't understand is how they cannot be as competitive as what I was. And I sound like an old man talking like this, because it's one of the biggest cringes I have is when I listen to ex-players talk about how it was back in the day. But it feels like there's no competitive bone in their body. Like if they lose, it doesn't matter. And I'm not talking about our team. I'm talking about in general. Like there is too many guys in sport at the moment who don't care if they lose. Where to me, the great players do care. You can see who's filthy with results. You can watch after games. You can tell who's got that taken that emotional toll on them. And I'm not talking about the blokes that stand there after the game and have a laugh with their mates. They're not the guys I'm talking about. Just because you stand on the field and have a laugh with your mate after the game, it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt you. And I've learned that the hard way. That's not necessarily telling you who does hurt and who does. That's the thing I'd love to know about us. And only our coaching staff knows, only the people inside of our club knows. Who are those guys that walk off the field and say, "Oh, well, who cares?" Or who are those guys that can't get over it for 2 days? I mean, it's famously known that Robbie Farah, if he lost a game of football, didn't talk to anyone for a couple of days. One of the things we still always hear about him is he was like that. I know another couple of people who are like that. Like you can't talk to them for 24 hours. And in the modern day, that's almost frowned upon. It's almost uncool to be like that. It's almost cool now. Like some of the phrases I hear these days is, "I don't watch much footy." I sit there and I think to myself, you're an idiot. I've said it to people I know that I'm close with, and I'm like, what do you mean you don't watch footy? Do you not want to learn? Do you not want to get better? Do you not want to understand? Oh, we'll watch video when we play these guys. No, you don't, because over 4 or 5 rounds, you only watch the last 2 games they play. But if you watch 5 or 6 of those games, you see different things from different teams and different trends in what they do. And what it also does is it gives you a bit of their intellectual property by watching them. I don't think in the modern day they do that.
Sorry, Coach, did I interrupt you there? Keep going. I just
No. I was just saying, I just don't think they do that these days.
Yeah. I mean, it's a totally different generation. I think they do some things better than we did in the past. But I won't go down the cricket path tonight. Maybe another day, Coach. Before the end of the season, we'll do our cricket podcast or philosophy podcast. But Gary, did you have a 3-2-1 out of today?
Yeah. Yep. I'll give 3 to Dream Buller today. I thought he was outstanding. Alex Seyfarth gets 2, and Api Coruscant gets my 1.
Any disagreements there, Steve?
A little bit different. I've given Api 3. I've given Seyfarth 2. I've given Junior Tupou 1. Thought he had a real dig.
Coach?
Yeah, I've gone with Dream 3. I thought Fanua was outstanding again today. I gave him 2. And I give Rob Bashara 1 for these comments in the WhatsApp chat. He was in fine form today.
Can I ask?
I thought he was leaving the chat halfway through, and then he came back. I thought he was going to go.
I tried everything I could to get him to come on tonight, and he just wouldn't come on. Sorry, we interrupted you, Steve.
No, that's all right. I've just got a question to Rob and Robbie for next week. We've done the hard yards tonight, so after the Roosters game, is it the Bashara Claws Out podcast? I think that'd be fair, wouldn't it?
Well, I saw Brendan on Thursday night. I've been trying to get him on, and Rob's been trying to get him on because he's apparently the sharp one of the 3. So if he's half as good as Rob and Junior, then I want to get one of them boys on. But just on your when you touched on the players there, Coach, if you from a recruitment point of view next year, and you mentioned that those sort of players that are potentially not the best players in the world, but live and breathe rugby league, is that what you'd be trying to recruit? Like, I'm thinking of guys like a Dale Finucane at the back end of his career when he was not necessarily, past his best, but he could teach you maybe some things about standards off the field, or you're purely trying to recruit the best players available, or you're trying to create, like a similar culture that we've got now where a lot of guys look like they're happy and they're mates and they're content here. I think you need a different mix of personalities.
No, look. The one thing I do know is we've got about 5 or 6 guys that are ultimate professionals. Like Samuel Alafino, from what I understand and what I've been told, is the ultimate professional. I know, and I'm not going to name names because everyone wants to be critical of certain individuals. Every guy that's come from the Penrith system is the ultimate professional. So we've got those guys who can lead from the front with that sort of stuff, right? I just think, I'm not going to be critical of Benji because I don't know. I'm not there on the inside. Because I have to believe that Benji is a little bit harder than what we see publicly. He has to be. Like, from his personality, you'd think he'd be a little bit harsher on him. Like, someone like Heino is a tough bastard. I just think we can be a little bit more tougher on them. But again, that's me just looking from the outside in. That's not without understanding what's going on the inside. You know what? I was thinking about this the other day, actually. On Saturday morning, I woke up, and Steve and Gary, just jump in with me on this. Do you know who I wished was in our club? The one player that I just thought, I just wish we had him. And that's Cameron Murray.
Yeah.
What I would do for Cameron Murray, like, you look at South, that's who we're missing. We're missing that player. That bloke who, when he's on the field, you are a different football side to when he's off it, even in a 5 or 6 minute period for South. But you just watch him. In attack, he's elite, and in defence, he's elite. That's what we're missing. We're missing that one bloke. I think everyone's got, like, it's an Isaiah, and it's not necessarily a 13. It's an Isaiah Yeo. It's a Cameron Murray. I think at the Roosters, it's turned into, finally for them, I think Victor Radley's turned into that for them. Now, I know I'm saying it because they're lock forwards. It's not necessarily a lock forward. Like, I think for some teams, trying to think of someone for another club, I'm about to say Max Plath. There's another 13. Holy shit. Like, it's that player. I think we're just missing that player. I just thought about it the other day, and I just thought.
What about Kurt Mann? He was the one in the papers. I mean, he's that same position.
He is, but he's not that guy. See, those are guys that are built off. See, Kurt Mann's a pretty footballer. He's going to make our attack. He's going to unlock our attack to become a little bit better with shape because he can play like that. He's not that sort of toughness that I'm talking about. He can't find his front with a quick play the ball like the other blokes can. He can do a lot of the other stuff, and physically he can be a little bit tough with contact. But what Cameron Murray, Isaiah Yeo, Max Plath, Victor Radley can do is they can find their front and get a quick play the ball for their blokes to play off the back of it. Why did we score a lot of our tries today with good shape? Fanua. When he carried strong and he found his front, it was a 2.5 second play the ball. We got to play off the back of it, and we had the Dragons on the back foot. We don't have that guy. We don't have that guy that can do it on the 20, on the 40, on the 60, and on the 80. We have guys that can do it once every, a couple of games. Geez, Cameron Murray, what would I pay for that bloke?
Gary, do you have any philosophy on the style of players we should be able to try and be able to recruit, or is it more position-based of need?
Yeah, I would like a half and a prop with a little bit of intensity, a starting prop with a little bit of intensity to go alongside Terrell May. I think, and that'll allow us to push Pole back to the bench. I think his best football this year's been as that impact prop coming off the bench, though he was very good starting today. But I'd like to see him come off the bench next year. They're the two positions I'll mainly be focusing on. And that's kind of reliant on Dewey being able to play that lock role, because I want a lock who can ball play better than what we've had this season. And that's no disrespect to Twal. I'll be putting him back into the prop rotation. I think Twal has been absolutely outstanding this year. But yeah, he'd be in my prop rotation.
What about Samuela, Steve? Like, I mean, I don't really believe any of the reports in the press, because even Sam Walker, like, the manager's tactics is always to get as much leverage as possible to drag as much money out of the club you're going to stay at. So I'm not suggesting Samuela's going to leave, but if he was asking for more than $1 million a season, is there a limit to what we can offer if you were managing our cap?
Well, that's what you just said. That's the point, isn't it? You've got to manage the cap, right? And I don't know, I don't know what our position in the cap is, but I had this heated conversation with this, I don't know, this no name supporter, Gary, that was I was talking with before the game today, and he was saying, "Oh, there's no way you're paying that much money," and I'm saying, "Well, hang on, isn't he our future captain? Like, everyone's saying that he's the guy who's going to lead us through the next number of years." And I've got so much time for him as a footballer. I think he is an incredible.
So you'd pay him $1.2 million.
Well, again, so this is the problem. This bloke, he kept interrupting me during this conversation earlier today as well. And I'm saying, when you got PNG offering 800,000, which becomes 1.2, and we're dishing up the rubbish we've dished up this season, and therefore are now back at the spot where we're not all that favourable for people to come here, well, then we've got to offer him, if we think he's worth it, we've got to offer above what he's going to get elsewhere. What that does to our cap, I don't know, but you give me the logic that comes up against that, because otherwise we're going to lose everyone.
Yeah, look, on that point, I mean, the understanding I have is that has been reported, but it's been inflated because it's a part of Latu's deal. So combined, they'll be on close to 1.5 together. That's one. Two, if Samuela came to the club and said, "I want 1.2, right?" and we could pay the 1.2, it's very simple. You actually can, and this is where you learn about the player. You bring him into a room and you say, "Look, we can pay you 1.2 million. It just means we're not going to succeed. We're not going to have any success, because that way you're probably about 300 to 400. Well, probably by the time the new TV deal's done, he's probably going to be worth about $900 to $1 million, right? So he's probably going to be at 200 to 300,000 over the cap, over his market value, and that's going to affect who we can recruit from other positions, because we can't spend that money. So, Samuela, we can pay you that, but it means we're probably going to be a shit football side. Do you want us to be a shit football side? You then wait for his response. "Yep, I want the 1.2. Okay, well, we can't give it to you." That's how you play it out, to me. Like, that's when you know the intention of the player. Is it for us to succeed, or is it not for us to not succeed? The other thing you can do is you can have incentive-based contracts, because even though that can sort of play with your cap a little bit, you sort of talk to him about the fact that if he can play Origin football, for example, he gets more money. I know people don't like to have these sort of stuff in caps, but in our position, we've got to be a little bit creative to make sure we can keep our players, but also make sure we don't sort of screw our salary cap up. So, yeah, tough one for me. Gary, would you pay him 1.2 million?
I think you'd end up on a contract where it's increasing towards the end of his contract. As that cap goes up towards the end of the deal, I think the salary cap's going up well over $20 million by the end of this pay TV cycle. Towards the end of it, you're probably getting to a point where a second rower, one of the better second rowers in the comp, is probably on over $1 million a year. So that's when you're hitting around that range. But straight up, no, I'm not paying him $1.2 million a year.
So if he walks,
I don't think we can put him in that situation.
So if he walks and if we don't get to an agreement close to what he wants, right, that's workable, and we end up, you're happy for us to end up with Suka and Charlie Murray in the back row next year?
Are you happy to go into next season and the season after with the squad we've got now?
Well, I'd like to have Samuela in it. That's for sure.
What about
what you can do is if he goes, that money that you had put aside for him can be used to buy someone else. If you pay him that $1.2 million and that eats up the rest of your salary cap, you can't bring in anyone else.
I don't know at the moment. And look, I could be. I'm just playing devil's advocate, right? I could be 100% wrong here, but I don't know. I think we've gone so backwards this year, right? And we're on the nose again as a club that I think we're going to struggle to bring anyone in at the market rate. I think we're now back to having to pay overs if you're going to bring quality into the club, elite into the club.
You still have to have a situation like our squad as it stands now, even heading into next season, needs upgrading heading into next season. We can't go into next season currently as the squad stands and expect to be competing for the top 8. I think everyone can.
So if we lose, if we lose Samuel and we get let's say we upgrade it and get a good front rower as you're suggesting we need, right? So basically we've replaced in our forward pack. We've lost one of the top. You know, I would say he was going to be close to Origin this year before he got injured, right? So we've lost an elite back rower, and we bring in maybe an elite prop, right? Maybe for a little bit less money, but as a pack, we're no different. We haven't improved our recruitment. We've just replaced. We've been doing this for years.
If we've got $1.2 million to spend, you spend 800 or so on what you're looking at for a second rower, and then you've still got 400 left.
Charlie Murray will take 400.
Gary, can I ask you this? If you were Manly and 3 years ago you had to make a decision to pay the equivalent of today, Hamoli Olakawatu, $1.2 million to keep him, knowing what he is right now, would you have paid it?
It's hard though, because we do need to upgrade the squad. You can't just do it in isolation.
Just answer the question, Gary.
I just want you to answer the question.
Oh, don't come at me with logic. We've got to upgrade the squad as well. So I actually agree with what you actually said earlier. It's the conversation.
Yeah,
it's the conversation around get him in a room, and it's not just that. I think that's why we're in discussions about his other brother. I think all of that's around keeping him happy and keeping his family engaged with the club. I think you do exactly what you said. Is you come in and you have the conversation about. Do you want to build something here with your family? Do you want to build a side here that's going to create history for this club and create history, and your family can be a big part of that? And the answer really tells you where he is as a footballer.
Look, for me, it's very simple, right? His age is the key. At his age, he's the best back rower in the competition. Now, other club supporters will look at it differently, but we get to watch our team every week. He is better than all these other back rowers were at the same age, all of them.
What about this Newcastle back rower? He's the best player I've ever seen, Coach, this new guy.
Who, Manu Leilua?
Yeah, they missed Dylan Lucas and you're bringing someone that's unbelievable.
Let me tell you, Arama Howe at the Titans was like that at the start of the year, and he's playing Queensland Cup today. So you got to be able to do it for a long period. Look, to me, it's very simple. I mean, I already had the conversation what I'd have. The other thing I'm doing with Samuela, because I know I've talked about this before about his leadership, is we know Jerome's leaving. I remember Parramatta doing this with Nathan Kalis a long time ago. I'm gonna up you and saying, listen, for the next couple of years, you're going to just be our number 9, and we're going to hand the keys to Samuela, and he's going to be our captain. And I'd give him the leadership from now. Everybody's talked about it, about how good of a leader he was at Manly. He was another 19s New South Wales captain. I know he's not your prototype captain, but everything I hear from everyone that's been around him, whether it's a player that's played with him, it's someone that knows him, it's someone that's been at the club, talks about his leadership. And leadership doesn't come from like how you speak and what you say. It's how you lead by example. Cameron Murray's one of those blokes. Cameron Murray doesn't talk. I just talked about him before. He doesn't do much talking. He leads by example. Cody does all their talking at South. That's how I would keep Samuel. I would make sure he understands that he's the future leader of our club, because that's what I believe, and that's how you keep him with the club.
All right. Well, boys, we're going to do about another 10 minutes. So if you've got somewhere to go, you can let me know and you can leave early. But I wanted to ask.
Do I have to go anywhere, or can I stay here? No, I'm good to stay.
I don't have anyone.
No one wants you back, Adele.
Yeah.
I
Gary,
live by myself, Gary. That's why I was asking.
I mean, clubs review, Gary, every season. I'll ask you this, Steve, because you've done some reviews in your past, I think. And Gary can come off the back of that. But I think this will be more like an inquest rather than a review. This one, I mean, we've had really good coaches in the past, and we've had really good players in the past. And it's probably unrealistic, or is it unrealistic, to think there could be an ownership change this summer? But is it possible, or should it be possible for Tigers fans to not just sit back and go, hang on, this has been going on for 15 years. This is bigger than players and coaches. We need to do something, or we need to push the club or the NRL to affect some change at the top? Or am I just making excuses for the club's failure?
No, we did this, right? We did this 3 years ago, 3 years ago, was it? And we did it successfully. Okay, we got a petition. From the petition, we got a review. From a review, we got monumental change, and we're moving in the right direction. And then our owners rolled the whole thing back. So what went wrong there? What went wrong was our owners made another crap decision, which they have an incredible history of doing. So our problem is at ownership level. So therefore, we can't impact that, right? We cannot have any. We've just, it's been proven that no matter how well we operate, and we operated really well, that we can't change it because the ownership just turns it back and screws it up again. So therefore, what you just said, mate, is spot on. Our attention or our focus needs to be directed to the NRL. And we need to be saying to Peter V'landys that this club, the fans and the members and the organisation has suffered for way too long, and proactive change by the supporters and members did not work. And you showed concern then, but didn't step in. Now we're saying you need to show more concern, but this time step in. And V'landys needs to put hot coals under Holman Barnes like he's never done before, or I don't think we're going to have success for a very, very, very long time. And they're my thoughts, and I think they're pretty educated thoughts on it. And I'm sure Gary will talk further.
Yeah, for me, it's time for the NRL to actually step in. The only positive outcome that this club can have in regards to ownership is we either get the independent board back that we had in the past. So that's what the outcome of the review recommended, is that the West Tigers was controlled by an independent board. We either get the independent board back, and that's what we'd like the NRL to actually advise the Holman Barnes group. They either return the independent board, or ownership of the club needs to change. So if the independent board is not put back in place, then the ownership needs to change.
Yeah, you know, guys, we've seen this before in European sports when ownerships are treating their club. It's very simple. As fans, we can actually drive them out if we really wanted to. The problem is our fans probably don't have the energy to do it. I mean, I know you guys in a collaboration did it a couple of years ago with a petition like Steve talked about, which got some change, but you can't put a Band-Aid on a bloody cut that runs 70 inches deep into a body that's got about 3 inches in it. That part of it needs to change completely. I'm going to say something that I talked to you guys about. I think it needs to be turning up to what we do at games. I think we shouldn't turn. Jeez, I don't like saying this. Sound like a sook. No, but I'll tell you what. I think that's the way. The only way the NRL is going to feel affected is if it feels like numbers are being affected. Now, why would they think they've got to do a change, Steve, when Leichhardt Oval sells out every time we play there? And from a viewership perspective, the West Tigers still rate higher than most other teams in the competition. So from their perspective, and that's all they really care about, the numbers are still really, really high. So it's going to take something extraordinary for them to start saying, hang on a sec, what's going on? Because they don't give a shit about results on the field. All they give a shit about is what our numbers look like, what our crowds are like, what our TV viewership, when we're playing on TV, what are the numbers like? Because that's all that really matters in regards to the numbers of the games.
Can I just say to that, Adele, that's right. But they also, a big part of their job would be projecting into the future. And Peter V'landys is very good at this, right? He's very macro in his thinking. Like he gets buddy Las Vegas off the ground now. He's talking about a world round. Like he's a real out there macro thinker. So he can't just be thinking about West Tigers in 2026, 27. He's got to be thinking about West Tigers in 36, 37, right? And that viewership and that sleeping giant that is West Tigers is not going to be there in 10, 15 years' time if the club continues to fail, because as we die off, right, and like Gary will probably pop off first and I'll be a bit after that, right, as we die off, there's not going to be people coming through because there's no success. There's been no success. So they do have to think about it now, even though we're still a steam train.
I just want to say, Steve, I'm staying alive long enough to dance on your grave.
Can I also, and I mentioned this on our private chat, and I'm going to do this. I'm coming to Sydney in, I think is it the last round of the year, Gary?
It's the last NRL round, not the last NRLW round.
So the last NRL round of the year, we play the Panthers in the NRL at CommBank Stadium. I think an hour and a half earlier at Campbelltown, the NRLW play, I think of the Titans. Now, I'm going to say that game should cement them in the top 8. I'm calling on all our fans, any West Tigers fan, no matter who you are, don't go to CommBank that day, go to Campbelltown. I'm going to come to Sydney that weekend just to go to Campbelltown and watch the girls, because I think we need to show our club that if you can perform, because yes, it is about winning and losing. That's why we support our club. We support them because we love them, but at some stage it's got to be about winning and losing. And if you're a team that has a bit of success, well, we're going to back you. I think on that day there should be no black and gold at CommBank, and anybody that wants to support a West Tigers team should go to Campbelltown that day. Eddie, are you with me that day? Are you coming to Campbelltown that day, Eddie?
Well, I mean, I don't know, Coach. I haven't been to Campbelltown all year, but like you said,
he doesn't know where it is.
I do know where it is.
I'll pick you.
A lot of cricket days
off a plane, pick you up.
About that. Raby Oval.
We got to do something. We got to do something to show.
No, you're right. I mean,
you think about it. If we get 10 to 15,000 at Campbelltown that day to watch the girls with not one Tigers fan at CommBank, that's gonna say something. It's going to say that we will support this club if we can get a bit of success. Yeah. And the girls are showing that at the moment. So let's give them our success. Let's give them our support.
And it's a message that can be sent that doesn't harm the club. So it doesn't financially actually hurt the club. And I know some people want to financially hurt the club in their protest, but this is a message to be sent. It doesn't financially hurt the club because it's not a West Tigers home game. It's a Penrith home game. It allows you to support the club. So you're still going out and you're going down to CommBank and you're supporting the women's team that is playing with heart.
Campbelltown, didn't you say? Campbelltown, I think they're playing.
Yeah, what did I just say?
CommBank, that's where the men are, right?
Oh yeah, you're going down to Campbelltown, you're supporting the women's team that is playing with heart, is playing with pride, and is actually doing the fan base proud. So I'm with Adele. And it's just been put up in the chat. The game is on the Sunday, the 6th of September at 1:45 p.m. versus the Titans down at Campbelltown. I agree with Adele. I'll be going down to that game. I know the girls from Hero Raw will be going down to that game. I suggest everyone who can make it down to that game, get down to that game. We're going to reach out to the other podcasts as well and try and get them on board to promote this as well. I think this is a really good initiative that Adele has come up with. I think get as many people out there as possible, and let's send a message to the NRL that we're not happy with what's going on at our club. We want to see improvement at our club, but do it in a way that still supports. And let's be honest, those girls, that women's team deserves the support that day, not just because it's a protest, but because of what they've done so far during this season. They deserve a big crowd out there, so let's give it to them.
All right, well, plenty of food for thought there. There's only a few weeks before that weekend that Adele's talking about. But, something to think about for West Tigers fans. Let's finish the last few minutes just on Benji, Steve. It's been a really grueling couple of months for him. I did watch his press conference. I mean, what can he say? He said a lot of the same things. He's trying to protect his players who are low on confidence, or he knows some of them are struggling. Like Coach said, maybe he could be hard on them in the press. I'm not sure that's the way to go, because I've seen guys like Trent Barrett and that do that in the past, and they can quickly lose that group. He's there till 2030, but realistically, he's going to go into the offseason, unless we get a miracle win, off the back of 11 straight losses, and the heat's going to be on early next year. What's the first thing he has to change?
Oh, well, he needs better support around him. You know, like it's like
are you talking like Shane Richardson, or are you talking coaches, or both?
No, yes, I'm talking everything, but yeah, I'm specifically talking about coaches around like football department here. Like as much as he would have allegiance to the guys he's got, it's obvious we need more experience there, and I think, and he definitely, and I know this to be right, he definitely needs people they're going to push back on him a little bit and not accept everything he says. You know, we need to be able to improve our roster, so he needs support from the club to keep improving our roster, right? But as that's going on, we need better, I don't know, more experienced football knowledge. Like, I don't want to say it and sound negative to the guys that are there, but probably more coaching experienced football knowledge is what he needs around him.
Gary, you called it probably halfway through the year, I think, after that first loss to the Dragons, that we need change in the coaching department in terms of maybe the assistants. Adele raised last time we were on, potential of someone like Ben Teo come in and shake things up. Have you got any specific names you'd be going after, or it's just someone from the outside of the club or someone with experience? What sort of skill set do they need?
I still think Ben Teo would be a good appointment. I know there's been some reported interest from South, but I'd still like to see him at the club working in that role in charge of defence. I would like to see someone in a genuine general manager of football role to assist Benji. Someone just put up Des Hasler as an option in the chat, but I don't know that's where I'd be looking, but someone with a bit of experience to come in and give Benji a hand in that role. And yeah, I just think there needs to be a refresh there. I agree with Steve. Some people who are willing to push back against Benji. I don't know that the guys who are there now aren't doing that. I don't know that that's the case. But I would like to see. I think we're at the point where something needs to change in that coaching structure. I think the results over the last 2 years show something needs to change. And for my support to continue for Benji in that coaching role, I think there needs to be change.
Coach, I know you're in a tough position because you work in the caper, and you probably understand how hard some of those coaches work and could have the best game plans of all time. But I feel like it's inevitable that if you go off the back of an 11-game losing streak and finish second or third last, there's going to be changes. There has to be changes. So you threw up Ben Teo a couple of weeks ago. There's rumoured interest from South. So I think he'd probably put his hand up for that vacant Queensland job. Do you have any other names that might be someone that Benji could work well with, or potentially be a good sounding board for Benji?
Oh, not so much. I mean, look, and I'm not sure how I came across the last couple of weeks, but it's not so much about replacing these guys because they can't do their job. We just need a new set of eyes. We need fresh ideas. We can't change the squad. The squad is pretty much locked in. We're going to need a fresh set of eyes to look over pretty much what Newcastle just did. Now, Newcastle changed everybody. We know Benji's not going anywhere. We just need guys who are going to give a different angle on what our attack looks like and what our defence looks like. Okay, and that's all that realistically we can expect at the moment. Now, if the next couple of weeks goes how we are expecting it to go, I don't think the club has a choice. Now, the only person that can survive in our football department is Benji Marshall. If it doesn't change, well, then the person who will get judged on that is Benji, because we know that Benji's got full control at the moment. It's going to be very challenging to see what they do. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. I don't think any of our staff have any commitments to any of the nations for the World Cup. Off the top of my head, I can't really think. I'm not sure John Morris was involved, but he's leaving from what I understand. So, yeah, it's
So
going to be
there is
interesting.
going to be change, right? Just from that fact, Adele, if John Morris is going, then there's got to be some. There's your first, cog that's going to move.
Yeah, but you know what? That's going to be the $1 million question, Steve. Who do they replace them with? I mean,
and we've had a history recently of promoting from within for a lot of roles. We've got to avoid that a little bit as well at the moment.
Well, we might. I mean, the club may look to a. I know Benji is a big fan of our NRLW coach. Now, our NRLW coach used to be an assistant coach for our NRL team. So he may be. Yeah, so he may be someone they look to bring into the NRL program. That could be one of the options they look at from within. There's a lot of young coaches out there in the New South Wales Cup, at other NRL clubs that are sort of sitting on the fringes of what they're doing. Like I know the Roosters, the Bulldogs, these sort of teams have a lot of young coaches who are just sort of Penrith have got a lot of young coaches still coming through the ranks, so they may look at that. It's going to be fascinating to see what they come up with. I've already said to you what I think we should do. I mentioned someone like Ben Hornby, who I thought would be ideal, but you got to have someone who wants to come to the club first, and before that, you got to have a club and a coach who wants to make those changes. And only Benji's going to know the answer to that question, whether he wants to make those changes or not. But to me, if the next 3 weeks goes the way it looks like it's going to be going, he has to make those changes for his own success.
His language around that has softened a lot in the last couple of months. Like he's spoken about it, the way he's spoken the last couple of months appears a lot more likely that he's willing to make those changes from what I've heard. Even Sean, when we interviewed him 2 weeks ago, said that even Benji's starting to talk about changes. So I expect we will see changes in that regard.
And he moved Robbie on. So if Benji can move Robbie on, he can move anybody on. So I don't think it's going to be a thing with regards to feeling some sort of loyalty to the guys. Someone wrote Mick Potter. No. Someone wrote Jason Taylor. No. We need young.
Eddie would love Jason Taylor.
Yeah, don't go there, please.
We need young. We need fresh ideas. That's what we need. We need someone. We need people more or we go exactly what Steve said. I don't think you go in between. You either go someone very experienced, an assistant coach who's been doing it for a long time, as an assistant though, because that's a specific role, or you go fresh, someone with fresh new ideas. And that's what we're seeing in the modern day. Like Peter Wallace at Penrith is about to take over from Ivan Cleary. A lot of their assistants are really young guys. The Roosters, I mean, they've got a couple of guys that are working with them, and they've got a lot of young assistant coaches. So it's probably one of those things where you're sort of sitting there and going, I don't know how we're going to handle it, but there's some important decisions to be made. Shane Flanagan, no. Have you not looked?
Thank you, Adele.
From Georgia going.
Thank you.
Look at. No, who is that? Dougie. No.
Dougie's having a laugh, I think.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Dougie.
Just on a positive, I forgot to mention earlier, Coach. I think was it Macassini get 4 tries today in State Cup. I believe they went down narrowly, but do you consider a recall for him, or do you leave him there?
Look, Solomon Secure has scored 2 tries for us today. No one touched him. Let's not talk about tries being scored. And by the way, I love Solomon. His dad Joey's a legend fella, but scoring 4 tries in New South Wales Cup doesn't mean anything to me. Like, to me, Hamasi's done nothing wrong all year. I think he's had a really good year. I think he's, to me, exceeded what I expected from him this year, playing in the centres. If he plays on the wing, I think he has a different year for us. I think we're too critical and too fragile as a fan base at the moment, so we're really critical on him. But I'm happy with Macassini's year, and I'm happy with what he's done. I think he'll be even better next year, so I'm not worried about that.
Well,
Trent Barrett, by the way, maybe. Trent Barrett's a maybe for me.
As an assistant, he's a good assistant, apparently.
Great assistant coach.
Okay. Up in Brisbane the past couple of years. nearly NFL season, Gary. I'm getting excited about the other brain-dead franchise I follow, the Raiders. That's what we need over here. We need a draft because we've got this young draft pick, Fernando Mendoza. He looks like the next Tom Brady. I think we're going to win 3 of the next 6 Super Bowls.
You know I hate drafts. Don't bring up a draft, Eddie.
Hey, I'm excited.
We'll be here for 4 hours if we start talking a draft.
So you're not excited about the Raiders this year in the NFL?
I don't care about the Raiders, mate.
You're a Bengals fan. You're a
sufferer. We talk about how Randy Pete's going to go this year.
Ask me in a month's time. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I blame the head coach no matter what.
Well, boys, it's been another 90-minute, another movie-length edition, but we have blended the 2 shows into one the past month or so. I assume during the week we'll have all our usual shows, the West Tigers Faithful, West Tigers Life. I believe, Gary, that Rob is going to make one cameo.
Yes, Rob will be back on Tuesday. Rob will be back on Tuesday. Special edition this week coming from Leichhardt Oval. I think we're going to go live early. So I think we're going live at 6:30. Jay might quickly put up the time for me. So broadcast live from Leichhardt Oval.
Yeah, my invite must have got lost in the mail. I don't know what happened there.
What's going on at Leichhardt Oval on Tuesday, Gary?
Oh, we're West Tigers Life broadcasting live from Leichhardt Oval on Tuesday. So
on the field in the sheds.
Come along if you want.
No, but where are you going to film?
We're going to be up in the
Glenn Morrison.
Yeah, we'll be up in the. I think we'll be up in the camera bay with the lights on over looking over the field, and so 7:30 p.m. Tuesday from Leichhardt Oval. So up in the camera bay with all the lights on the field, overlooking the field on Tuesday. So
just checking flights.
Leichhardt Council. Yeah, jump on, come down. Even Rob Bashara is making a comeback this week to make sure he's on. I think Steve's going to come in, aren't you, Steve?
Rob's not allowed to come on.
Apparently.
No, he's on. He's told me this is his last show of the year. He's told me it's going to be. He's going to have to do 6 hours. Last 6.
Rob said as long as Adele's not on to school me in a debate, that he would come on.
I don't.
Now I've said that he probably won't come on.
I don't accept this Rob coming on Tuesday night after saying he won't, just because it's at Leichhardt Oval.
Hey, Rob's the boss here. You got to accept what he says. So we love Rob out there, and I look forward to listening to him on Tuesday. Boys, thank you again. It's going to be a fun week playing the Roosters as usual. I think we got 16.5 start. I think they've got that the wrong way around. So, I mean, I fear playing them. I don't even know what day we're playing them, Gary, but that's going to be it's always a tough game.
What do you mean the wrong way around?
I meant 61.5 start. I mean, that's probably the start.
Okay. I thought you confused me for a second. Yeah, it should be 1,000 to 1.
And just give us while we're here, 30 seconds, a grand final tip, Steve, and a winner if you'll predict it now.
Oh, wow. I've had to predict. I'll say, I hate to say this, Roosters.
And they're going to play Penrith? They're going to beat
they're going to play. No, I think they're going to play Warriors.
All right, Steve doesn't rate Penrith. Gary?
Roosters, Penrith.
Coach, you laughed at me a couple of weeks ago when I suggested the Sharks are going to make the grand final, and I think you were right, unfortunately. But I just pray the Roosters don't win it. There's nothing good about that club that I like, so I hope Penrith or the Warriors can win it.
Season over, Patrick Herbert, Sharks. You'll learn I'm always right. No, by the way, I don't think it'll be the Roosters. I think it'll be the Warriors and the Panthers. And also, because I'm one of the good guys on here, before we play the Roosters next Sunday, Saturday afternoon, 12:45 p.m., the girls take on the Newcastle Knights at McDonald Jones Stadium. So if you're a Novocastrian West Tigers fan, get out to Marathon Stadium out there in Newcastle and watch our girls put it to the Knights.
I think it was called Marathon Stadium 30 years ago, but it's McDonald Jones Stadium, I think it is now.
International Sports Ground.
Okay, close enough.
Yeah, Newcastle International Sports Ground, it used to be called.
All right. Thank you to all our West Tigers TV fans for tuning in tonight. We love all your comments, good or bad. We'll see you again next week for Claws Out.